And there's no use going on. But I know we've got lessons to learn and know we've got a future to earn, even though we forgot to see there's only one who can make us free, whose life will lead us from this world of madness. Love will make us free. Oh, time is racing down. Still got a chance. Join the dance and find that inner peace and make it last. Why hold on to sorrow? Don't wait till tomorrow. This cure will get you feeling better. Go. God's light will lead us from this world of madness. God's light will make us to be free.
Welcome to Home, a series about our sweet, original, eternal home. What place is better and more enjoyable and more comfortable than home? This is a perfect home. This is an eternal home. An eternal home is a place of truth, of peace, and of bliss. What we experience in our home, the home of souls, is that we are always protected. We are always safe. We experience our true original eternal identity. There is a feeling of being the best one that I can ever be. There is a feeling that it is me and not the personality that I'm showing to the world on a daily basis. There is a sense of being authentic, and there is a sense of belonging to the larger family of souls. There is also the perception that others are well, and they will always going to be well. When we are in the experience of the home, we are aware of everyone else being eternal, divine, and with a nature of goodness. All our worries dissipate, all our fears disappear, all our concerns vanish in a second when we are at home. In the home, we feel that connection, that link with the Supreme Soul, with God. God is mentioned in different traditions, in different spiritual schools, and of course, he is worshipped by all religions. He has been given many different names and many different forms. It is our right and our possibility to experience God face to face in our home. All our questions of what is a form of God, what is his eternal quality, what is his personality, will be answered through our direct experience. Both faith and reason are limited to some extent. They are giving us an indirect experience of who God is. The only direct experience is now possible when we are in the home. We understand that we cannot truly now go back home in these bodies, but through the body, through the mind and the intellect, we can experience being in the home. And when we are in the experience of being in the home, we are in the company of God. In the company of God, everything is truthful. Everything is in that ocean of peace, in that ocean of love, in that ocean of purity. Everything becomes full with knowledge. We become aware once again of our journey through time and space. When we are in the limited consciousness of the body, of this temporary human existence, we have so many questions and we cannot see the bigger picture. We cannot see our journey through the human existence. When we see from the home, we see in a very different way. We see that the soul, the spirit, is a traveler in this physical world. It is as if we are coming from home to visit the physical stage, and we will continue this visit for a while until it will come the time to go back home. There are a few laws that govern our visit on the physical stage. Let us look at these laws of the physical and spiritual world and how we are coming from the home, how we are traveling through this physical stage by taking different human costumes, and then how we return back to our home. Let us use a board to understand our visit and our original place. From the consciousness of the home, we understand our nature as being a nature of complete peace, a nature of complete bliss. Bliss means happiness beyond the senses. Our nature is one of eternal bliss. It is beyond the physical senses and it does not depend on the physical senses. Our bliss does not depend on having a body. We are blissful beings to start with, and we will return to this blissful nature. So our home is this higher consciousness. Our home is the environment that facilitates us to be in this higher consciousness. And the one that holds this space, the one that creates the atmosphere of the home, the one and only highest and best ever host is God Himself, the Supreme Soul. And we understand that God is a soul, and we represent that soul as a being of light, an infinitesimal being that is radiating its eternal qualities. The form of the Supreme Soul is the same with the form of the soul. Only the qualities are different because the awareness of the Supreme Soul is ever pure. The Supreme Soul is ever aware of being a soul. He is ever pure, ever peaceful, ever blissful, ever loveful. The Supreme Soul is the one that is always in the awareness of being the highest on high. His qualities are those compared to an ocean. The Supreme Soul is understood and experienced as an ocean of love, as an ocean of peace, an ocean of purity. He is almighty, and in the home, all souls belong to God. All souls are in the home, in the experience of being loved, being protected, being eternally in the company of the Supreme Soul. In the home, all souls are aware of God being the central point, the reference of the home, the reference of our world. It is God, the one that is in the center of attention of all souls. It is as if the eyes of souls are looking towards God. And when we experience the home, we experience the divine intellect being able to contemplate the eternal qualities of the Supreme Soul. And those qualities in the home are peace. And together with peace, there is complete silence. And together with peace, at this time, we can experience love. We experience belonging to the whole. We experience being knowledgeful and truthful. We experience being able to know our truth and to be that truth. And these are all qualities and experiences of our home now. Home is a place of supersensuous bliss, eternal bliss. Home is a place of silence and stillness. We experience the stillness of the mind and the intellect. The mind is quiet and the intellect is concentrated. And that stillness is becoming our nature. The body is benefiting from that stillness. The body becomes still and peaceful. This is our home, the home of all souls. All are included. All souls. of all humans and animals are included in the home. Everyone has a right to experience this home. And the only time we can experience home is now. It is now that we can be in the company of the Supreme Soul. It is now that we can become aware of our individuality, of our perfection, of our peace, love, bliss. From the home, the soul is coming in the awareness of the physical world. And that is perceived as a journey into a human experience, being associated with a body. We use the language, the soul is associated with a body. And that association is for a certain period of time, until a moment that we call death of the body. The moment that the body is no longer usable, the soul will continue its journey taking another body. It is the same soul, and it is only one eternal life of the soul. And the soul is associated with a body and it continues its journey until again the body is of no use, and the soul continues until it will return back home. It is a simple model, it is a straightforward model. It is a model that makes sense. The other model that is describing the soul coming into the body, and then at the death of the body, the spirit is just staying in a certain region until all spirits will go to some kind of heaven. Where do all these spirits stay? Where is a place for so many spirits? By now, there should be many billions of souls that have come here. If they all have only one birth, then where are they now? The soul is associated with the mind, an intellect, personality, those are in the soul. If the mind, body, and intellect are in the soul, then how are they all living now? All that spirits, all that souls that are now dwelling in a space waiting to go to heaven, What is happening to that mind, to that intellect, to that personality? Is that still active? Is that still able to think, to understand? There are so many questions that do not have an answer yet in the model that there is only one birth. This model would advocate that once the soul leaves the home, the soul will come on the stage, on this physical stage, and it will play a part. A part is associated with one birth. And each time the soul changes, the costume changes the human body, it takes another human body and it plays the next part. And in total, there can be maximum 84 parts that a soul can play. 84 births. After 84 births, maximum, the soul will return back home. And that is the case for all souls. All souls are coming from the home at their own time. They have a journey. And the law says that all souls will return back home at the same time. They all come down at different moments, and they all return at the same time. They all return together. And the time and the moment when they return back home is a time when the Supreme Soul himself is coming from the home to take them back home. That is a pull of the home that is attracting all souls back home. At the present moment, souls are having a destiny here on this stage, and they continue to take rebirth according to their destiny. As we know, the destiny of each and every one is clear. It is as if preordained. The destiny is fixed. And this destiny is as if calling the soul to take another birth and another birth and another birth. Until the moment when the Supreme Soul, God Himself, comes on the physical stage, and through His coming, the pull of the home becomes significantly more important than anything else. The souls will leave their bodies and they will all be pulled back home. And that is the task of the Supreme Soul. The task of the Supreme Soul is to remind all souls of their original home. The Supreme Soul, God Himself, is the one that never forgets the home, that is always able to know everyone in their original, eternal form of a soul. The Supreme Soul is not deceived by the temporary journey that souls are taking in their bodies. He is aware that behind every human costume there is an eternal, divine soul with a nature of goodness, with a nature of peace, with a nature of love. This law that once we have left the home, we cannot return back home until the end of our journey. And that end will be a moment when we all return together. All return together following God back into the home. And that is the law of our journey in this physical world. God, as the supreme authority of the home, is the one that comes to remind all souls of the home, to remind of souls that they are eternal, they belong to Him. And together with God, all souls return back home. What is happening after returning back home, we shall describe and understand in the next episode tomorrow. Until then, let us have a few moments of being in the experience of the home. If it is absolute that we will return home all together following God back into the home, then we would better know how it is to return back home and how it is to be in the home. The more we experience now the home through our mind and intellect, the easier it will be to return home. We will have a sense of that home being familiar, and the way back home it will be familiar. So let us connect once again with our eternal truth. And the truth is that the soul, the being of light, can be very detached from the body, from the human part, as if we are at a high distance, very far away from this entire human existence. The soul becomes so detached. And we take a leap of faith, as if the consciousness is jumping into the consciousness of the whole. We are in the whole. And in the home, the soul is connected with the Supreme Soul, with God. In silence, the soul experiences the company and the qualities of God. I do hope that this is becoming easier and easier for you. And thank you for joining us. Join us tomorrow to understand a little bit more about our journey out of the home and back to our original eternal home. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.